Trump's expected to sign an executive order that cuts funding, American funding, for the United Nations. That's another executive order. Joining us now is George Birnbaum, former Chief of Staff to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. George, this cut in funding to the United Nations, as I understand it, there is also a cut in funding for some Palestinian schools which teach young jihadis. Have I got that right?
Yes, Stuart, you do. In fact, I should tell your viewers that if you're standing on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem looking southward, there's a hill where the UN has its headquarters. You can see the little blue flag. Back at the time of the Roman Empire and Jesus, that was referred to as the Hill of Evil Counsel. I think it's quite appropriate. The United Nations has been a source of problem, if you will, for actually getting the Palestinians and the Israelis to make peace, because under the Obama administration, even previous administrations, and the international community, we have allowed the Palestinians to use the UN, UNESCO, and other international organizations to try and pressure Israel into either a bad deal or an existentially terrible deal. And as President Trump understands, just even with TPP and NAFTA, the only way to get things done is bilaterally, through a bilateral negotiation, one-on-one, Palestinians and Israelis. And I'm hoping that by taking this stand, cutting off funding to the UN, putting pressure to not allow the funding of Palestinian schools that incite and teach hatred towards the Jews, that it'll send a signal to the Palestinians that there is a new sheriff in town, and that sheriff is saying, if you really want peace, the only way is to sit down across the table from the Israelis in a bilateral way and negotiate a real peace.
I want to ask you about the proposition to move America's embassy to Jerusalem. I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu wants that to happen, because it might set off some nasty riots in Jerusalem if that move were made. Am I right?
I'm not sure that's exactly right. I think it is important. I know the Prime Minister for his entire tenure as Prime Minister, even prior to that, has said that Israel is the only country in the world which does not have the right to have its capital recognized by the international community. I think if the Americans were to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, it would send a very important message, primarily to the Palestinians, but to the world, that Israel does have the right to declare its capital eternally as Jerusalem, and that any future two-state solution would include Jerusalem as the capital of the Jewish state.
Do you think it'll happen? I mean, 1 year from now, where will America's embassy in Israel be?
I believe that President Trump is a man of action, and if he wants to have the embassy moved, it will be moved. I can tell you that for years the geographic location, the planning, all that has been in place. It's not a big surprise where they would put the embassy. So it's really a matter of will. And if the first few days of the presidency are any indication of President Trump's ability to turn will into action, I do believe the embassy will be moved.
George Birnbaum, thank you very much for joining us, sir. We'll follow up on this one. Thanks a lot, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Now,